Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a fun little sun pendant, as well as a couple variations of the design at the end of the video. I'd say that this is an intermediate design, but with practice it's really pretty easy. If you'd like to see my start to finish process, stay tuned. Okay, I'm using a piece of 20 gauge square dead soft copper wire, and it's around 12 inches long. And I'm going to start shaping my little sun rays starting about 3 to 4 inches down the wire. And this is pretty straightforward once you get it going. Using some flat nose pliers, I'll start with a 90-degree bend in my wire. And then I'll just use the pliers themselves to shape the first ray. And I'm switching to some tweezer nose pliers to space out each sun ray. Basically, I'm just using the flat nose pliers, and I'm also using the tweezer nose pliers, and both of those are going to be my units of measurement for this little design. All right, and then back to the flat nose pliers. All right, so that is how we make each ray. And to determine the length of our line of sun rays, we want to go ahead and measure the stone. I'm just using a scrap piece of wire, and I'll start by shaping it around the edge of my stone. And then I want to actually turn the stone around and shrink my circle a little bit to fit just inside the edges of the stone. This is because I want the sun rays to be the actual frame I'm going to attach the stone to. So it needs to be slightly smaller than the stone so it can actually secure the stone from the back. Okay, so once I have that shaped, I'm bending it and straightening it out, and that will help me measure how long to make the line of sun rays. And now I can finish my rays. And I'm just going to apologize in advance because I filmed this using a new orientation of the camera hanging directly over my workspace, and it actually was incredibly awkward trying to film this. So I'm sorry if it seems like I'm struggling, it's because I really was. I'll be going back to my original method of placing the camera to my side and just adjusting the tripod over my workspace, so you'll only have to suffer through it just this once. And I'll just finish the rest of these off camera. Okay, so here's our finished line of sun rays, and I'm going to use a mandrel to get this shaped into the frame. To figure out which size on the mandrel to use, I'll grab my little scrap wire and use it to measure my stone one more time. And I think I should add one more ray. Alright, I think that's much better. Now I can finish shaping the frame. And I'm going to hammer this lightly to help maintain its shape. I don't want to hammer it so much that it stretches out and gets a little bigger, because then it'll be too big for our stone. Now I'm going to tie the frame together with some 22 gauge half round wire, and I'm placing this flat side down onto my base wire. Now we're going to start our Viking weave. I'm using 28 gauge round wire for my weave, and this piece is around 3 feet long, and I got it attached to my frame with 5 or 6 coils, and I'm just going to make my first loop. I'm going to bring my weaving wire down and around the back of my frame, and then I'm pulling it up through the little loop to make another little loop around the actual base wire itself, and then I'll continue that pattern. And I'm gently adjusting this loop, but being careful not to pull it all the way flush around the frame. And I'm going to skip over one ray and make my next loop. Okay, now I'm going to start a second row of loops. I'll show you a couple of loops at normal speed and then I'll fast forward a bit. If you want to slow it down, just go ahead and tap the little gear up in the right hand corner and you can change the playback speed to make it slower. So once we finish that second row, we can put our stone in and continue to weave around it, and that'll trap the stone to the frame. And again, I'm going to speed this part up a little bit. And I'll just give you guys a really nice close-up of how I finish this. Basically, I just finish it with one final loop, and then I coil the 28 gauge wire around itself twice and tuck it in. Now we can complete the bail. I'm just going to take my leftover 28 gauge wire and tie each loop of the bail onto the frame. And there's our finished sun, and this is how it looks after it's been oxidized and polished. Now, you can do your weave with smaller loops if you prefer. I'll show you this other one. For this one, I made a loop on every ray instead of every other ray. So the loops came out smaller and I have more of them, as you can see. And for this one, I did a different pattern for the rays. On this pendant, I made every other ray shorter. So for that, I used flathead pliers for the longer rays and my tweezer nose pliers to make the shorter rays. And I actually have a micro tutorial for this one on my Instagram and TikTok if you want to head over there. And for this one, I made the rays all the same length, but further apart. I just used the flathead pliers to space them out instead of the tweezer nose pliers. So you can really play with this design and make all kinds of interesting shapes and sizes of your sun rays. You can make them longer, you can curve them at the ends, whatever you think looks good. Alright guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this project. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like to help me make more of these tutorials, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, feel free to share pictures or videos of your creations with me. I really love to see what my tutorials inspire. And if you don't follow me on those platforms, make sure you do so because I post lots of fun content on TikTok and IG that you won't see here on my YouTube channel. And I just want to end by saying have a fantastic day and remember to love your neighbor as yourself and in all things treat others as you want to be treated, for this is the law and the prophets. God bless you guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.